Hi, kids. Andrew Burr here, Coldwell Banker Leader of the Andrew Burr Group. I'm going to try to do a sort of brief deep dive into the market with some beautiful graphics and information to kind of flesh out what I'm saying to you. You guys hear me sit here and yab all the time, but what I want to do is I want to share my screen with you right here and let you guys look at some of the actual information that is pertinent. So the big question, are we having a bust? Are we having a bust? No, we're not having a bust. Are the markets moderating? Absolutely, they are moderating. As of mid July's numbers, we were still appreciating in value in South Florida market about 2%. We came into the year, with appreciation like first, I don't know, first 3-4 months we were at, we're trending towards another 20% almost, and then we basically, that's when we capped off, which is good. We had to, because we were heading to bubble territory. But anyways, let's talk about why we're at where we're at and why it's not just like the last time. If you guys see right here, this is the month supply of inventory back around the bust time. Okay, we already had high inventory, and then when we got to the craziness, what happens is the builders started slamming out houses and flippers started buying them, and you had people that had basically no credit that had 10, 15, 30 homes, and they were flipping them. They were buying them and flipping them before the ink was even dry on the contracts, and that's where all this craziness went to. Okay, so what happened? And the next slide will show this too. What happens? They stopped building for a while, for about 14 years or so, and we just dropped down. Now this is pre-pandemic. We were already dropping down to where the supply was already getting to what you could be considered a critical mode. Anything under 3 months is definitely still strong sellers market. We get down to 2.3, which was crazy, which made it a huge sellers market. We're back up to 3.0. I imagine we'll be back up to about that 3.9 by next year. The builders are trying to build as quick as they can, but here you go right here. This is units completed. So the graph that you saw before showed you that we were, and this kind of goes with it. This is when the builders were slamming them out and all the flippers were flipping, right? Boom. Then they stopped, and they didn't build any new houses for quite some time. Population growth, however, still going up. All right. Right now we got the millennial generation, which is larger than the baby boomer generation. The baby boomer generation is the one that really kicked off the buying sprees, I guess you would have in the United States. And I'm not talking about in the late 2000s. I'm talking about in the 80s, 90s, really 2000s. That really was kind of the end of their thing. But they were the largest by volume, by person, and they're really what made the market swing for quite some time. And to be clear, all this stuff right here had to do with not necessarily free money, but money that was being given out with. We had all these speculative loans. People could walk in and just sign a piece of paper somewhere and say, "Yeah, I make $1 million," and they go, "Okay, here you go. There's a bunch of money." That was some stupidity, and that has been curbed, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But these are the reasonings for where we're at. All right, so home sales moderate. Well, yes, they are moderating. Once again, I said that. The graph is kind of, I don't know, to me it seems a little lopsided with we're talking 5.6 million, 6.1 million, 5.1 million. It seems like these are towering. 5.1 million is not very far off 5.6 at all. And, it is a bit off of 6.1. And realize that this is all still projected and whatnot. So, and they actually hedged, basically they adjusted, made adjustments that, may or may not pan out. So this number could be closer to here. Basically, if you're in South Florida, it's definitely closer. You realize that everything I'm talking about is national numbers. And if you're in the South Florida market, the national numbers are going to be skewed pretty low, comparatively speaking, because the South Florida market is still and always going to be one of the hottest markets in the nation. So anyways, this does show that we have the moderation going on. And this is just a little tip to you. Home sellers, homes priced right are selling very quickly, but homes priced too high are deterring prospective buyers. That happens in every market. It's just particularly true right now because buyers are a little bit nervous because things have changed dramatically in 3 months, just like they changed dramatically in about 3 days when COVID hit. We had the first 2 months of COVID were slow, and some stuff lost value, and this, and that, and the other. And then finally, after a couple of months, when people started to be accustomed to the new, reality, that's when our market took off. And then, probably 5-6 months into it, when people said, let's start making moves. A lot of them were lifestyle moves and things like that. Some of them were related to the fact that you could work anywhere, but that's where everything really took off. So right now we're in that same sort of trend, but in a reverse mode, which is why we are seeing the market slow down, but we're not losing any value, at least not in the South Florida market. Once again, there are parts of the country that may be, but certainly not here. Mortgage rates. All right, I got this in here because I get this all the time, and particularly leading up to the big 0.75 or 75 basis points, whatever you want to call it, the big correction by the Feds coming in. Realize that all these adjustments right here, particularly, I mean, some of these were definitely leading up to Fed, the Fed saying that they were going to do this, and then they did, and then guess what? The investors in the bond markets said, oh, okay, well, we feel really good because we actually estimated that they were going to do that, and we estimated correctly. They always hedged, and then they came back to reality a little bit. This was the big spike leading up to the adjustment that was made actually basically on this day, where they did the 0.75, this 0.75 and 75 basis points, blah, blah, and we actually dropped off 728 was 5.3, and I think today is actually a little bit lower than that. I expect that we're going to hover around here for a good bit. I don't, everybody was saying, oh, it's going to go crazy, it's going to go to 8%, it's going to do all this stuff. Well, no, it didn't. That's what happened, right? That's 8%. Media outlets need something to talk about. Right about around this time, middle of the month, I made a video saying, hey, let's not really listen to the loudest voices, because the loudest voices are trying to make money because they're trying to sell papers or sell advertising on their websites or whatever. Worst case scenario at that time was we're going to go to 8%. The Feds are going to jack things up. We're going to go to 8%, and the market's going to fall 10%. Neither of those happened. Are we out of the woods on the market actually maybe losing a little bit of value? I don't know. I mean, possibly. I mean, right now we're very solid on value. Could we lose a little bit of value? Yeah. Do I think it's going to be 10%? Heck no. Do I think it's going to be 5%? No, I don't. But I think we might see 1% or 2% here and there as things are evening out. Right. But that's from today's pricing, right? Today's pricing, or today's values, and realize where we were before the pandemic. So everybody's in pretty solid shape. But this is comforting to some buyers too, because a lot of buyers were freaking out trying to get offers in before it went to 8%. Guess what? It didn't. It bumped right back down to 5.3. I expect the next time the Feds make a decision, which is they're going to be a couple of weeks out, we might bump back up to this 5.8 or 5.7. So right now is actually probably an opportune time to buy. Incidentally, this is about right where we were before the pandemic. So very close to pre-pandemic numbers, and we had some really solid years in the market leading up to the pandemic. So, and I don't know, from my perspective, the first house I bought in 94 or 5 or so, I was happy to get 9%. I was happy to get a 9% rate back then. So historically, it's still pretty good. Here you go. The data for mortgage credit availability index. This is basically that lending, that little foo-fi where they said, hey, everybody gets money. You get money, you get money, you get money. Now we're back. This is basically where we're at. And this, if you want to take, for lack of a better term, is the safety net rating, I guess, on mortgage indexes. So pretty darn solid. Matter of fact, lenders did tighten up, during the pandemic, tightened up their standards. So pretty good indication of where we're at with that. And I don't see that really moving off anywhere right now. Okay, the foreclosure boom. Everybody's talking about the foreclosure boom. This is the foreclosure boom of those crazy house selling days, of the free money and blah, 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 and da, da, da. It's all gone, right? If you look at the graph right down here, look at this. All of a sudden, 2000, and then now it shrinks to almost nothing. Out of those 151,000 homes that they're saying that they're reporting in the United States, and that are, in basically pre-foreclosure. There's another graph that I couldn't find, but there's another graph that has the forbearance loans. and all but 17% of those have already been worked out. Out of those 70%, 95% of those homes that are in forbearance that have not made a final deal with the lender or did whatever they have to do have at least 10% equity in them, meaning that 95% of the ones that could be in this 151, all the people got to do is sell it and they can put some money in their pocket and walk away without a foreclosure. So it's not, there's no real boom to speak of. Is there going to be probably 40 or so thousand, maybe 50,000 foreclosures in the United States this year? Yeah, probably. Because this is actually 2021 numbers. This actually shrank even more because of the same things we're talking about. But you know, that's pretty average for any year. Actually, it's really low for any year. But I mean, you know, if you want to do all the math and stuff, and if you had, I don't know, 20,000 foreclosures in Florida over a year's period of time, it really wouldn't make a ding. So this is the last thing I wanted to kind of go over. And these are all just basically things that I've been going over in my videos over the past, you know, let's say 3 weeks, but I wanted to put them all in one sort of concise grouping. And this is, as it says, if you buy and secure a fixed rate mortgage, it means no matter how much prices of interest go up, your payments will stay the same. And that's one of the things about owning and purchasing a home. Okay. If you purchase a home right now, you know, the rates at 5.16 are definitely higher than they were when we got down to the insanity of the 2 point whatevers, but they're very historically, you know, good. Actually, they're still solid rates, you know, and they're not bad. You know, the rate, in my opinion, should have never got anywhere near below 3. That was just a different kind of insanity, right? But if you look at the numbers, rents are still going up. Rents are still going up. It has slowed. The rent increase has slowed, kind of like the market has slowed, but those rental increases were insanely off the charts. Rents went up almost in the past 2 years in the South Florida market. And even if you take Miami-Dade out, because Miami-Dade was crazy, rents have gone up 27% in the past 2 years. If you do the math on what it would cost you to purchase with a 3% down or 3.5, you know, a minimum down payment, man, you're looking at, in some cases, you could be paying 30-40% less in your mortgage than you are when you're renting. So it really makes sense to try to save some of that money and get yourself in a buying position. Or Florida came out with Hometown Heroes. Man, Hometown Heroes is huge. There's like 90 different professions that are eligible for up to $25,000 in down payment assistance through Hometown Heroes. You know, that's huge. There's first-time homebuyer plans coming back out that we didn't see first-time homebuyer stuff for a long time. That's coming back. So anyways, right now is honestly probably a pretty solid time to buy. You know, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, those are the numbers, those are the facts. That's what we're seeing in the market. Like I said, the numbers through mid-July still show 2% appreciation. Could we even out? Yeah, I think we probably will come close to evening out. Will we lose a little bit? Yeah, perhaps we'll lose 1 or 2%. I don't think it's going to be any worse than that. You know, once again, we didn't get the worst case scenario 8% interest rate hike this time, and I don't think we're going to get the 10% loss. I don't think we're going to get 5% loss. But once again, if we do, that's based on today's number, and appreciation is expected to get back to that normal 3.5% a year, you know, going forward, and that basically will bring you. Even if you bought today and you lost 2%, by the end of next year, you'll have that money back. And if you're buying today, hopefully you're not just trying to flip anyways. You're, you know, buying because you want to fix your income, build your equity, and, you know, have a place to grow and love into. So, anyways, that's the market with some nice little slides here. I do want to pop down to this here too, because if you want to do something with real estate, there's a good reason why I started using ratemyagent.com, which you can go on at any time, because Rate My Agent is the only review site that actually makes sure that, you know, you actually were the person that sold or purchased the property before you get reviews. I hate to say that, but pretty much almost anywhere else, including Zillow, you can just go on and make a review for somebody that you've never even done business with, just because they're your friend or whatever. Or if you're crafty, you can make yourself 20 different emails and, you know, addresses, and just give yourself 20 different reviews, which one broker that will go unnamed has told his new agents to do, which I think is just criminal, but that's a story for another day. So anywho, let me get you back to my beautiful face right here. I am Andrew Burr, leader of the Andrew Burr Group here at Coldwell Banker. If you've got questions, I try to give you guys everything I can in these recordings and stuff. But if you got questions, you want to take a deep dive on what's going on in the market, you want to sit down, we can talk about it. Just let me know. Give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a message on social media. I'd be more than happy to do it. Andrew Burr, realtorandrew1@yahoo.com. That's realtorandrew, the number 1 at yahoo.com is the email. TheAndrewBurrGroup.com is the website. Facebook /realtorandrew. Twitter _Burr Group. Instagram realtorandrew1. The list goes on, but I am here to answer your questions and help you with all your real estate needs. We'd love to have your business. We work very hard to do the best job that we can, and it shows. The reviews are in, folks. We're pretty good. So we will talk to you soon, and have a nice day.